I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So I had a request, kind of a question of the week, I guess, on what are good communication options for preppers. And so I'm going to just talk a little bit about communication as far as what I know. And just kind of show you some of the different options that I have and stuff like that, and talk a little bit about pros and cons of each one. I want to say right up front, though, communication and radio specifically, is probably one of my weakest areas. I know the basics of comm, how to use the radios, what line of sight is and all that kind of stuff. I know a little bit about radio wave propagation and different frequencies and things, but I am certainly not an expert at all. So those of you guys who are good at radios, if I say something that is jacked up, then go ahead and let me know in the comments below. It's not gonna take offense. I'm not gonna try to get into anything technical though here. So hopefully this will all be accurate, information. From a prepping perspective, I'll talk a little bit about one of the things that I don't have featured here first. A lot of people like the little Baofeng UV5R radios, and what they're doing a lot of different things. They're saying, either I just won't use it until the crap hits the fan, which is fine, and they're a good radio. They've got they're okay. I guess I should say they're okay. They're kind of hard to program. They're a little bit funky to use, but you're supposed to have a ham license to use those. And most people on YouTube say, well, as long as you don't transmit on it, you're fine. I think technically, I think the possession of it is actually illegal. I'm not going to debate that. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that, and I'm not sure. And honestly, I don't care enough to go and research it for sure. But I'm pretty sure I remember reading that somewhere in the past. So, I'm kind of just in the middle on those. I don't really have a preference one way or another on those. I think that they'll work, but I think that there's starting to be some other options that are on the market that are probably even better. Some of the new GMRS radios that are coming out from Midland right now are probably just about as good, especially from a prepping perspective. If you're talking about prepping and talking with your group and stuff like that, the Micro Mobile MXT is about the size of a cell phone. I've got it inside of the Operator G1 from Hardened Power Systems. I'll put a link to his website down below. This is a 5-watt radio on GMRS, which is General Mobile Radio Service, and you sign up for a license with the FCC. You pay, I think it's $60 for like 5 years, and it covers your whole family. Okay, and this will allow you to throw up. You can put an additional antenna on it. It's got an external antenna. It can go up to 20 feet high. You can transmit at 5 watts with that radio. This radio doesn't work with repeaters and stuff, but they also have the new MXT 400 by Midland, and that is a 40-watt radio that is FCC compliant. Now, Comms Prepper has done a video on that. I'll throw a link to a couple of his videos in the description below. I suggest you check that out. He's way more knowledgeable than me, and he's kind of working on getting a repeater situation set up with a couple of those MXT 400s. I think it's 400s. And like I said, 40-watt radio. They've got a low, a medium, and a high wattage, so you can do a 15-watt on there as well. A 15-watt radio is going to give you good range. I mean, especially if you've got a decent line of sight or you can get to some elevation. I mean, you're probably talking about 10 to maybe even 20 miles, of actual coverage. Not like they say, these little handhelds are 36 miles, not in theory, but in actual working, you're probably going to get some pretty good mileage out of them. So I'm leaning towards GMRS being the best radio service band for preppers at this point. But it's not the only thing that you should have, okay? So I do have, I've got like 6, I think, of these little FRS GMRS handhelds, and those are all compatible with the Micro Mobile, which is the only one I have right now. I don't have the MXT 400 yet, but I will be getting it. So those are all good, and they can all work together. Then, of course, you've got the handheld CBs. Okay, Citizen Band. This is what a lot of truckers use and stuff like that. This is probably, I assume that these bands are going to be more busy in an emergency than the GMRS will. I might be wrong on that. That's just kind of my thought. I don't really know. These, I believe that if I'm not mistaken, these are only half watt or 1 watt radios, so you're only going to get a mile or two out of that. I also have a little bigger Radio Shack, just CB that I've put basically in this bag, and I've got it mounted onto some plywood and everything, and then I've got another power supply over here that I can mount, put those two together and use it as like a base station, in more of a portable kind of setting. So I've got some of those that'll work with that as well. Couple of things that are really important to have as well. I just got this, and I need to re-caveat with the fact that I don't know a lot about scanners. I know that there are digital scanners and analog scanners and trunking and all this kind of stuff. Do I really know what that means? No, not really. All I know is that the cheaper ones are the analog ones, and so these are going to get you a lot of different access. You can get some military air bands. You can get civil air patrol and civil airport bands. You can get some fire and EMS. You can get some. This is the Uniden BC 125 AT. You can get some ham bands on here as well. You can get GMRS and FRS on here. So you can get a lot of stuff. And the cool part about this is a receiver only. So it does not have the capability to transmit, which means that you also can't be direction finded. You can't be triangulated, okay? Radios, if they transmit and you're transmitting on them, if someone with the right technical equipment is listening, they can vector in on your position. Now, one of the downsides to like the ham and amateur bands is that the more power you have, the farther that radio will reach, the more capable it is of being direction finded as well. A lower power radio on a lower power setting, like one of these little guys or something like that on the FRS setting, you're not going to get very far distance, but it's also going to be much more difficult to direction find you. So from a tactical perspective, using a UV5R Baofeng, especially on a higher amateur band setting where it's going to go further distance, might not be the smartest thing from a tactical perspective. Anyway, another good tool to use is a shortwave radio. This is a little shortwave radio by Sony. I think it's been discontinued, but it has a ton of different frequencies that it'll listen into. It's AM, FM. It's also got, the 60 meter, 49 meter, 41 meter, 31 meter, 25 meter, 22 meter, 19 meter, 16 meter, and 13 meter bands as well. And then, and like I said, AM, FM, and then it's got a long wave and a short wave. So I think that's, the medium wave is AM, then you've got FM, then it's got another long wave in there as well. But they also make these that get weather stations as well. This Uniden also gets weather. And then I've also got, this is more of a bug out bag type radio. It's small, it's lightweight, it's about the size of a cell phone. I got it at Radio Shack, and it does AM, FM, and some shortwave stuff too. Let's see if I can tell you which bands it gets. Shortwave is the 2.3 through 26.1 megahertz. So, this is just a little digital one. It was about, like I said, I think about $40. But as far as size and space constraints, it'll work really good. Now, the other thing that you might consider is getting, like with this with this shortwave radio is get an additional external antenna, and it just basically clips to it, and it helps you to receive. It's like a long wire that you stretch out and you hang up, and it helps you to receive the shortwave bands more clearly, and it definitely is worth the money. It makes a big difference. I've hooked it up on this one, and I was getting probably twice as many channels as I was before. So these are just some options. I mean, what I've tried to do in building the communication stuff that I have is that I wanted it to be portable. I wanted it to be able, some of it to be able to be used in vehicles or out in a remote setting if necessary. I could use it at a bug-in location if necessary. Having the capability to put an external antenna up high on the house or up high out in the woods on a hill is kind of important. And then having at least 2 of the radios on the different bands, as well as Citizen Band and the GMRS. So those are the ones that I focused on. But intelligence collection and information gathering with the short band radios, as well as the scanner is equally important. One thing I just recently learned is that the apps on your cell phone for police scanners are not actually real time. That information is actually recorded and then sent back out through the app and all that kind of stuff. So you may not want to rely on those. I think getting a digital trunking type scanner is pretty expensive, like over $1,000 or $800 or pretty close to that. So I don't know if I'll ever get one of those or not. I'm not sure if it's really going to have enough value to it or not to add that to my stuff. But I'm definitely going to be looking into the micro mobile MXT400, and if Comms Prepper comes up with a way to make a repeater out of that, I may try to duplicate that as well, because I think that's a fantastic idea. I know Hardened Power Systems is also looking at coming out with a portable setup like the Operator G1 for the MXT400, which that would be super sweet too. And if I can get my hands on one of those, I would definitely show you guys that as well. So anyway, this is just kind of an overview on comm, and some different things to have for comm. If you go ahead and get an MXT400 or the Micro Mobile from Midland, and you're using the GMRS, and you set that up at your house or whatever, make sure you follow the FCC rules and all that kind of stuff. But another good thing, and I think I recently mentioned this in another video, is if your kids drive, give them one of these radios to put in their car. Now, you may not be able to reach them all around the city because they just don't have that much distance, but they go about a mile roughly. And if you can come within a mile of them during a disaster situation and they know to be monitoring the radio, this could be a really easy way to get in touch with each other if you needed to. So I always keep one of these in my vehicles, and I think it's a great thing to give to your kids if you're in a situation where maybe you live in a bigger city or something like that. You could get lost or disconnected, or whatever the case may be. If cell networks are down, terrorist incident, whatever the case, then this might help you get into contact with each other a little better, as well as following some of the other principles I talked about in the communication, family communication video. But anyhow, I think I've rambled on long enough. Oh, the other thing is pretty much all of this stuff is rechargeable via solar panels. Either run off of rechargeable batteries, which I have a recharger for, or to be able to run off of solar. Got a couple of different options for doing that. Got another Goal Zero solar charger as well, and then some USB powered battery chargers for AA batteries, because it all takes AA batteries, I think. So anyhow, guys, I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore on this. I don't know that I've brought you a whole lot, but hopefully it gives you some ideas to look into stuff for you. I think that the GMRS band is probably the best way to go. If you've got your ham license or you're willing to get your license, then obviously that is a superb way as well. You're going to get superior distance and stuff out of it. But for the regular average Joe, easy accessibility, easy usability. I think this is probably a few good options anyway. So, as always, guys, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Hey, and let me know in the comments below what your favorite radio and communication options are. Stick that down there, because maybe I'm missing something, and you can let me know, some new options to take a look at. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. See you soon.